Ben Simmons today, there was a report that came out that he is not going to report for the 76ers training camp. And I know before the podcast, Riv was upset about it because these athletes can just choose when to not go to work and still get paid for it. What did you say exactly?
That's literally what I said.
Verbatim.
That's what you said.
That's exactly what I said.
And that's why you're pissed off about it. And Ben Simmons, to this point, I mean, he's playing the victim right now, I think, in this situation when he's the guy that himself did not get better. I think the fan base is annoyed by his lack of a desire to get better, at least at jump shooting. And I think they have some I think they're right to believe that. Then again, I do think it's a case of fan entitlement because I think fans kind of go overboard sometimes, like the Met situation with Baez and Lindor.
Yep.
How do you feel about that? I'm just curious.
I'm with the players because you know what?
I'm with the players
I'm
too.
with the players. I get it. The fans have been brutal all season long. So you know what? There's finally players that are giving them a taste of their own medicine. But at the same time, they're professionals. You need to understand that booing is a part of the game. You can't just go into the media and say, yeah, we're booing them back. You do it in silence. You just say, that's between me and the team. And you keep it going.
The Mets started losing, right?
Losing? That's an understatement, bro. They've been trash.
It was in the playoffs.
But they won today, actually, right after all this happened.
It was talking
But that's why, like,
crazy, too.
in some situations, I'm with the players because I think fans can be brutal.
For sure.
And you can't expect players to have a mentality of where, okay, you boo me and you were saying you hate me and you're throwing all this negativity at me. Then when I finally play good, you want to love me again.
Yep.
As a player, you can't expect these guys to just take that. At some point, you're like, you know what? F these fans. I'm going to play good for myself. If these fans like me, cool. But at the end of the day, F these fans because they're fickle. They're not riding with me if we're bad and we're good, But on to this Ben Simmons thing. It has been reported that he is interested in playing for 3 California teams. I'm guessing that's the Warriors, the Sacramento Kings,
Or the Clippers.
and maybe the Clippers or the Lakers. Or it could be the Lakers, Clippers, and
I don't think it's the
Golden
Lakers.
State.
We don't have enough to get him.
I think it's the Clippers. The people with enough, it would be the Clippers, the Kings, the Warriors.
Yep.
But a report also came out that Minnesota is trying to get Ben Simmons as badly as possible. And Pat Bev just liked the tweet, I believe, saying that he wants Ben to come to Minnesota, which is ironic.
Because he would be a part of the trade.
Because Pat Bev would be a part of the trade package if Ben Simmons were to go to Minnesota. In your opinion, what team do you think has the best trade package to get Ben Simmons? Because Toronto has been in the mix as well. So do you think it's the Timberwolves, it's the Raptors, it's the Sacramento Kings, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers? Where's your mind on that?
Well, it's interesting because this man has digressed since his rookie year. And
Regressed. You say it every podcast.
I do, right? And you guys correct me every single time.
I just want you to remember
Digress is like
I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to...
I digress.
Yeah.
Got it. So regress. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Like if you say something and I'm done with the debate, I'm like, I digress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we're a team. Yeah, word. He has regressed since his rookie year. It's really sad, honestly. And it's funny because Ben doesn't need a jump shot. Let me not say that. Ben doesn't need a jump shot to be aggressive. He can still be aggressive without a jump shot, attacking the rim, getting in the post-up game, finishing at the basket. We've seen guys in the DeMar DeRozan doesn't take threes. He's still effective, putting up 20 points a game. Ben can be aggressive without taking threes. It's just fans are tired of the lack of aggression, especially come crunch time. And this year affected them so much because Embiid finally was playing at an MVP level. They were the number 1 seed in the East. The Nets were hurt. It was like, all right, all we got to see is Milwaukee and Atlanta. It's go time. Like, we have a real opportunity to go to the finals and beat Phoenix. I feel like Philly had a strong possibility to beat Phoenix. With Embiid, I don't think he had – Ayton had no answer for him. They had Ben. They had Seth playing like a star.
Tobias
who was finally consistent for once. Matisse Thybulle was doing what he do on the defensive end. So I feel like they had a real opportunity. And Ben just let, God in his own head. So I think, I like the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves have a lot of young talent. Malik Beasley's a bucket. D'Angelo Russell, I think he's really, really good player. People love to knock him. He's obviously a little bit injury prone, but he's a really, really good player. And I think him and Embiid will work well in that pick and roll. Cat's probably going to stay, so he's not going nowhere. But I think, the Timberwolves have a lot of youth. Toronto, I feel like they have a lot of talent, but I don't think Toronto's going to give up too much for Ben Simmons, being as if they have OG, they have Pascal. They just drafted Scotty Barnes. I don't really see the Ben Simmons going there with the fact that they got these players. Sacramento, I feel like they have Buddy Hield. They have the contracts, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, or whatever. They have guys that they can give up. Halliburton. I don't even think they'll give up Halliburton for Ben right now.
I think they would.
I think they would.
I don't know. But they have Halliburton to give up
because
they want to.
If Philly trades Ben and they don't get a point guard, they don't have a point guard.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
So if they give up Mitchell?
Mitchell who?
What the hell?
Davion Mitchell?
Yeah, and Buddy Hield. You know, so they I feel like Sacramento, I don't think
that's actually better.
Yeah, I don't think the Clippers have enough because they would have to gut their depth, and I think they need depth right now. With Kawhi being out, they're going to need a team effort. So I think the Kings and Timberwolves have the best trade packages right now.
Also, correction, Pat Bev didn't like the tweet. He actually quoted it. The tweet was, add Ben Simmons to Cat, D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, and you have a contender. And Pat Bev quoted it and said, facts.
He's literally about to be gone with Billy Beasley. It's so hilarious. Him and Beasley are about to be gone.
That's why, before you go, Drew, that's why with the Timberwolves, the trade pack, because I have trade packages for each scenario.
GM.
For Toronto, it's Simmons for Pascal straight up. You know, I think the contracts work. Toronto probably has to add a pick. But are they going to trade Simmons for Pascal straight up? I kind of doubt it. You know, I don't think that's going to be true. But if they do, I think it makes sense because Simmons is now your true point guard. Fred or Gary, they play the 2. And now Barnes can start at the 4. And now you have that young core that can grow forward. But I don't think Philly is just going to take Pascal.
Yeah, they need
but
one.
if they did, you know, Philly with Pascal at the 4, you move Tobias back to the 3. You got Danny Green at the 2. And I don't know, maybe Seth plays the 1 or Maxey and then beat at the 5. It can work somewhat. And then the second trade is Goran Dragic and OG Anunoby for Simmons.
Whoa. You think they'll trade OG?
I think for Simmons, you're going to have to.
Damn.
You know,
I like OG.
And I think Philly gets a point guard in Goran. They get a 3 guard in OG. Now you have Goran, Danny Green, OG, Tobias, and
more
and
spacing.
B. Yeah, and I think that would work for them as well. Is Toronto going to trade OG? I'm not too sure, but if they were to do that, now you have Simmons, Fred still, Scotty, Pascal. So would they move Scotty to the 3? You know, it's a bunch of question marks right there. Then another trade would be from Toronto. It would be for Simmons. It would be Fred VanVleet and Chris Boucher for Ben Simmons.
I like that one better.
You know,
Scotty is immovable right now.
I think Scotty's untouchable.
I think Scotty and OG are, in my opinion, I think Scotty and OG are the untouchable ones.
Okay.
But with the Timberwolves, for me, it's like, what can they trade of value for Ben outside of D'Lo? And I think Minnesota, the whole reason they got D'Lo was to make Cat happy. So I think D'Lo is off the table. He's off limits. My best trade for them is Malik Beasley and Pat Bev. You know, Malik Beasley, Pat Bev, and I would throw in Jaden McDaniels because I think he can be a good defender. And now if you have Ben Simmons, you don't need Jaden because Ben can play the 4. He can play the 1. You have D'Lo, Edwards,
D-Lo
Ben, Cat.
Yeah,
now you just got to find a placeholder really at the 2 spot or the 3 spot. You know, there's not much that you got to do to get a replacement. So I think that makes sense, but I don't think they're willing to move off of D'Lo. I don't think Toronto's willing to move off of.
I think D'Lo,
Scotty Barnes,
Edwards, and Cat are the untouchable ones right now.
Yeah.
So Beasley and Pat Bev, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You get a 20 points per game scorer who can shoot, space the floor. You get Pat Bev. He's a 3-and-D point guard. You still got Seth. You still got Tobias. You still got the MVP, Joel Embiid. Run it back.
From all the packages I've heard, I think I like Davion and Buddy Hield the best. I feel as if what the Sixers need is exactly that. You get in return someone who plays defense that you would lose and get and trade in Ben Simmons, obviously. You get someone who's still a playmaker, someone who still has upside offensively that right now people are questioning whether Ben can grow at all offensively, which is understandable. And then you get a guy in Buddy Hield who is one of the better three-point shooters in the league, and that's exactly what Philly is trying to do. They're trying to space the floor even more. And Davion is as young as it gets. Davion, and I'm saying it firmly, I believe Davion is the best defender in this class.
Oh, okay.
He's 23.
Just turned it, right?
I think so. Yes.
Just turned.
Oh, so I'm bugging on that sense. But regardless of that, he's
Yeah.
23.
When you said young, that's
yeah,
why.
we love-
Thank you.
he's
Appreciate
23.
it. Thank you. Regardless of that, he's still NBA ready. He's
So.
for sure. And you lose Ben, you get a guy in Davion back. You're probably going to lose the size, the athleticism, but you're going to make up for it in heart. In same, I'm obviously going to take Ben Simmons defensively, but I still believe Davion Mitchell's going to be a stud defensively. And offensively, he provides more than what Ben does, unfortunately. Ben is not a good shooter at all. He hasn't been aggressive, even driving to the basket. So anything is a plus. And then
Maxi's a good defender, too.
and I think Max is going to have a breakout season this upcoming year for sure. They just need to give him the minutes.
Correction. Davion is 22. He turns 23 this week, though.
Okay.
so-
His birthday is
okay.
September 5th.
He's about to be.
Oh, he's a late guy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
his birthday is September 5th.
Dope. Wait a minute.
I like Sacramento's package, but I don't know how Simmons and Fox are gonna fit. I really don't. I'm kind of hesitant on that. I know Philly wants Fox for Simmons. That's their most ideal thing.
They will not get
and
that.
I don't think they should get Fox. If I was Sacramento, I'm not trading Fox unless they believe in Halliburton that much. With Ben Simmons is weird. With Philly, it's weird specifically because they have said, from reports that I've read, that they are hoping this Portland and Dame situation becomes so toxic that they're gonna move Dame.
I feel like they're waiting too long.
And at this point, nothing has really told us that that's about to happen. Dame seems like, from everything he said in interviews and on Twitter, he wants to stay in Portland.
Yep.
He wants to stay in Portland. I respect that. And honestly, if he loves Portland that much, if I love the city that much, I would do the same thing. He's getting a lot of money. They're probably a playoff team. Who knows how deep?
Yeah,
but
at least they're in the playoffs.
they're still winning games. It's not like they're Cleveland and they're losing, or he's in a losing situation, losing in the playoffs, but not in the regular season as much.
Yeah.
So I think they're waiting for that situation, but I don't know when it's going to come. And with training camp about a month and a half away, how long are you going to really wait for Dame to say, you know what, I want to get traded? Because if Dame wanted to go to Philly, he would have said it by now.
Yeah, Dame is a pretty straight up guy.
He would have said it by now, and I think if all Dame has to say is say the word, all he has to do is say the word, and he can get a trade of Philly because they have Ben Simmons to trade. That's what I think, but obviously Dame has not said anything thus far.
Philly's going to wait too long.
I think Toronto has the best package for Philly. If I'm Philly and I'm strictly looking at what I can get back for Simmons, for example, from the Timberwolves, yeah, I can get Malik Beasley, but he's always in and out of trouble. He was arrested this past year, I believe. He got into something with Scottie Pippen's baby mama, or Larsa Pippen. He got into something with Larsa Pippen. He's always in.
Was
he's
he in
always
jail,
in the
right?
news. I think so. I'm not sure.
He got arrested.
He got arrested.
He didn't go to jail.
And Malik Beasley isn't a very great defender. He's a very good offensive player, but not a great defender. Pat Bev, we know he has limitations on the offensive side of the ball, which is why if I'm Philly, the best package is what Toronto can give me. If I can get Pascal straight up, I'm taking Pascal for Ben. And if I'm Toronto and all I have to do is give up Pascal for Ben, I'll think about it. I'm not sure if I'll do it, but it makes sense because of how he can grow with the players. And right now, Toronto is missing a true point guard because they didn't go Jalen Suggs. They're missing that true point guard. But I honestly think the best trade also would be Goran and OG.
I think I like that more just because then they would have a point guard. If the Sixers trade Pascal for Ben straight up, then you know what I mean. If they trade Ben for Pascal straight up, then they don't have a point guard.
But if they could trade Fred and Chris Boucher, I mean, those contracts
I'm a fan
work.
of Boucher, you know that.
If you can have Simmons, Scotty, and Pascal, that's an elite defensive lineup. And OG, Pascal, OG, Scotty, Ben,
And Boucher,
that's an elite defensive lineup.
Boucher playing the four. He's not a great on-ball defender. He's more of a paint, shot blocker type defender. But Embiid would make up for that. So I understand.
You think he starts in Philly though?
At the 4, I think it's definitely possible he could start at the 4.
Yeah, I don't
and then
know.
you move Tobias to the 3 for sure. You move Tobias to the 3. You put Danny Green at the 2 and Dragic at the 1. Oh, I'm missing Seth. Seth
think
Curry.
I'll probably have Boucher off the bench. That's just me though. But
yeah, he did go to jail.
Okay, so
Damn.
120
Yeah.
day sentence in Wright County Jail.
I think Toronto definitely has the best trade package, but Ben Simmons, based on what he said, he wants to go to California, and I think because he's cool with Cat and D'Lo, he would relish the opportunity of going to Minnesota.
I mean, D'Lo got a chip.
I think Philly might have to take less from another team because Ben is gonna say no, I don't want to go there. He's already holding out from Philly, so if he goes to Toronto and he holds out, now he just created a disaster. And I don't think Toronto believes, Masai Ujiri believes that Ben Simmons is worth that headache because he's a playoff underperformer and he's not a superstar player. He's an all-star player, DPOY caliber player, but is he worth that headache? I don't think he is. I don't think he is. And Scotty Barnes, I think they're hoping he becomes that Ben Simmons type of player.
Yeah.
So if you bring in Ben Simmons, you're kind of also limiting Scotty Barnes' ceiling as well. There's a lot to think about here, which I think, but I do think Toronto, on paper, they have the best trade package. But if I were to make a guess, I think he goes to Minnesota. And I like that for Minnesota a lot.